Greetings. Sometimes breakouts don't look perfect, but you have to at times consider them based on other factors. Now, I've been doing breakouts for paid clients for 22 years straight, full time. So I have a lot of experience when it comes to what looks good, what could have an opportunity of moving higher. So let's take a look at that. Stocks that don't look perfect. But first, before I begin, I greet you in the love light of the one infinite creator. So we have a stock here that is catching my eye, and I'm trying to decide whether I should bring this to the attention of my clients. This is the ticker symbol. It could be any stock, but this is the ticker symbol for this stock. Now, the first thing that catches my eye, we're going to go through some of the things I'm looking at to make a decision here as to whether it's worth sending an alert for paid clients. The first thing that catches my eye is this move here. Very nice sustained move on the weekly chart. This is 2-year weekly, so 2-year weekly chart. So I like that. And in fact, if you take a look at this as being some type of a cup and handle, ever since this breakout here, the stock more than doubled in price. So that's good. So more than a double in price. Now, I also notice here, just taking a look at some other things, is we can see that if you take this breakout somewhere here, again, that is from about 350, stock went close to 7. So that's another 100% gain, 100% gain. Now, so those two moves are of interest. Now, if you take a look at the minimum requirements, which are my own minimum requirements I came with and researched almost 20 years ago, and I've been refining ever since. So you can see here on the 3-year monthly chart, of course, there's this movement above the monthly closing high from October of last year. So that breakout is still intact. And I'll show you why that is relevant. So that breakout is intact. We haven't dropped below ever since we moved above that level on a monthly basis. Also, take a look at your RSIs and MACDs. You can see the RSI is very close to moving above 69.1. And we can see that the MACDs are essentially trading at 3-year highs. So the stock meets the minimum requirements for the ultimate Muade breakout. So minimum requirements have been met. Now, something else I should point out here is this is the monthly. And you'll notice the stock's been trading on a monthly closing basis here, and beginning of March, which is this week, it's trading higher. But compare that with the S&P 500. The general market's been down in that relative time frame. So that also tells me the stock has been holding up during this sell-off in the market here. Not the biggest sell-off, but it's a sell-off. None the case for the S&P 500. Now compare that, relatively speaking, to this stock, which has not followed the market and is trending higher. Now, the reason why this is of interest is because should the market find stability, then the stocks that held up well, generally, as a rule of thumb, they become the new leadership. So you want to take a look at stocks that held up well during a pullback in the general market. So that's another thing of interest. Now, let me tell you my concern here, and the reason why I say some stocks don't look perfect is what I don't like here. I've gone out a couple years, and every time the stock moves, this is a monthly chart, we gave back all the, in fact, let's go to a 3-year monthly again. What I really don't like is I see these reversals intra-month. It gives back most of the gains after it has moved high in the month. So lots of pullbacks. Go back to that monthly chart again, long-term view. All these were months where the stock gave back all the gains, if not most of them, for the month. Giving back gains is its characteristic, and that's why I'm not too enthusiastic. But again, I said some stocks are not perfect. You can still consider them. Now, here's why I got a little bit, changed my mind on the stock and decided it might be a decent candidate. It's because when I take a look at this big move here in 2015, the stock held on to most of its gain. Now, I know that's been many years ago, but at least we can see that it can hold on to gains. And even here in late 2013, he had a 3-month move and it held on to the gains. So not perfect at the current market situation, but we've seen in the past that this thing can take off. So because of that, and also the fact that we have these sharp angles of penetration, in other words, when the stock moves, it tends to have a sharp move. Even here, this is a relatively sharp move. So that tells me that if this stock can just start picking up, we might actually see an explosive move, especially if the stock can move above 69.1. So is the stock perfect by any means? No. But does it have the looking and the setup for a potential breakout that could have some legs? Yes. And so what I'm going to do here is it's going to be put on my current breakout alert watch list that I'm preparing for clients when I send it out. Could be today, maybe could be on Monday. But so I had finished recording the video and I realized there were two important things I failed to mention in the original video. So I'm going to include this right here. Now, two other factors to consider. Number one is what would be the buy point. Now, if we wait for the stock to clear this level here, which is the recent weekly closing high as one option, that's going to be, we have to wait for the stock to move another 15% or so, and don't want to do that, or wait for it to break out to the current weekly closing high from 2024. Now that's going to be waiting for another 20% gain before the stock can get a chance of breaking out. So I don't want to take those two options because that means waiting either this breakout or the next breakout. So what I'm decided to do here is, by the way, I already sent out the breakout alert to clients, is I'm using the monthly closing high here. So for now, effectively this stock is giving us a breakout since it is above the monthly closing high from October. So that's the first thing I failed to add, that the breakout level is going to be just above $10, which is where it closed in October. So this weekly closing high was, I believe, 1003. So that's the breakout level, 1003, and then we'll see what's going to happen. So we don't need to wait for the weekly breakout. Again, waiting for the weekly breakout means we wait and we give back, and we have loss of all these potential gains. So I'm going to go with the determination that the monthly breakout is more relevant in the current market. Now, something else to consider is I have to consider that the market is due for a pullback, or at least a recovery run. So we've had this pullback in the market. I also have to decide whether this is a market that is looking like the next meaningful direction is higher. Because if we can own the stocks that are going to bounce, the first stocks to break out, if this market is truly bouncing, they're going to be the stocks that are going to turn into the new leadership. Now, at the same time, I have to be careful here, because if the timing is wrong and we actually end up seeing another major leg down, then the breakouts are going to fail. But then again, we can always be stopped out if the breakout fails. So in my estimation is, I believe that the S&P 500, and this is the spiders, on the weekly, there's a possibility that now that we're coming to the end of the week here, this day being a Friday with about 2 hours to go before an hour before the end of the session, maybe the market was coming back to test this line here on a weekly basis. So I have to consider that. Also consider that on the daily, if we go to the lows here, lows of August of 2024, and I draw a line, so this breakout here, if I draw my uniformity concept, it tells me that we're looking at an S&P 500 that is giving us a triple bottom. And so I'm thinking here, this is a time to get back and start owning breakouts. The stocks market has been holding those lows. That's the daily for the SPY. And also another consideration here is on the hourly, we have this drop in the market here on a 4-hourly basis, and we see the RSI showing this support line. So that definitely is positive divergence, which tells me that I should be looking at this market from the point of view that more than likely the next meaningful direction is to the upside. So I do need to send my clients breakout alerts in this area, because if the market bounces, then those breakouts are going to perform very well. Now back to the original video. This is what I'm considering. The stock has passed my smell test for now. I'm going to give it a pass, but out of a rating of about 5, I might give it a 4, just to kind of be in the middle. Why? Because of these pullbacks here. Just don't like these pullbacks on a monthly basis. But for potential, it has potential. So not exactly a 5. I might even consider giving this a 3-star rating. So actually, I might go with 3, not a 4. 4 is a little bit high on my scale. So I'll give it a 3, and let's see what happens. I am ericwithmother.com. I leave you as I found you, in the love light of the one infinite creator. Go forth rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the one creator. Adonai.